Hello folks, Veronica here again. So now we're going to do our paint test. I'm just going to use this Mehron split cake, Paradise, Prisma, whatever you want to call it. So many options. For the first bit I'll show you with the Always Wicked Little Sponge. It's not going to cover or take up, well, hey, maybe it will. So that's a nice little thing to say about the Small Wicked, is it fits perfectly on this split cake. Here's a tag split cake as well, and again it fits perfectly. So it's got that going for it. Let's see how well it takes up moisture and paint. Just have a plain old water bottle with water. Okay. Seems to absorb paint really well from what I'm seeing. It's a little hard to grip because of the size, but at the same time, I kind of like it. There's your paint coverage, and here's the skin test. Alright, I'm pretty impressed with the paint coverage and how this absorbs paint, and the fact that it's the exact size is really nice. It's a little small, but at the same time it's a perfect fit for split cakes. So there's that going for it. In terms of bending to just get one side, it still bends pretty good. So yeah, I like this. I like this one. Definitely 2 thumbs up on the Always Wicked Small Green. It holds a lot of paint and keeps going for a while. Next is going to be the Always Wicked Large Pink. I've got high hopes of that, considering the Always Wicked Large Pink. Just washed my hand off with a baby wipe, and now we're going to get this one wet too. As you can see, I'll have to squish it like we normally do with our sponges. Yeah, this one takes it up really well also. This is something I notice when you have to squish. You sometimes get a bare spot like that right there. Okay. It's got good spread when I rub it. It actually doesn't do too bad in terms of how it streaks, as opposed to dabbing it on. Oh, and there goes my camera falling over. Oh no, runaway camera. First I had a runaway sponge, now I've got a runaway camera. What's the world coming to? There we go. Alright. So, decent coverage when I wipe as opposed to dab it on. So, again, really good 2 thumbs up on the Always Wicked Large Pink. Wash it, wash it, wash, wash. Next, we'll be doing the very high, very dense Krevalen sponge. I'm really curious to see how this soaks up paint and water. It seems to soak up the water really well. See how it does with soaking up the paint and how easy. Yeah, this one's going to be really hard, I'm noticing, to get in there. So we'll see. I'm not going to squish this one because it's just a little too hard to get it to squish. But it's really holding paint well as staying liquid. You can see this is still very liquid on my palette. Coverage is decent on the sponge itself. So. Okay. Because of how stiff it is, I'm not sure how well it would do for butterflies on sensitive areas of the eye. It is definitely hard to bend and move with. I have to put a lot of pressure in behind it to make sure it's even and goes down easily. So I'd probably use this one more for solid colors instead of split cakes. And I'd probably cut it in half because I like to do that with my sponges. So I have some that are full size and some that are half size. Decent sponge. So far I like the Always Wicked better. Next, I'm going to do the Royal Sponge. This is the kind that you can get at any art craft store. It's often sold with pottery kits and the like. It's not good for pottery, by the way. Get the natural sponges for pottery. They hold water a lot better, which is what you want. These don't do what you want for pottery. I speak from experience on that. Alright. It's pretty easy to get it in and squish it down. Holds water for paint pretty well. But with it being so soft, it also wiggle worms. And with the amount of holes, you get a lot of a lack of paint coverage on the sponge in certain areas. So, see how that looks. Okay. Decent paint coverage, feels good. We'll say that's one butterfly into my inner arm. Two butterflies. So, yeah, I could probably do full face butterfly on one swipe. Thing I don't like, you have to cut it yourself, which leads to uneven cuts, I always seem to find, no matter how hard I try. And the big holes can lead to some issues with paint distribution, but they're good. I like them. And they're rounded, which is another difference between the Always Wicked and the Royal Sponges and some of the ones on top, which can make a difference when you're doing things other than one-stroke butterflies and the like. When you need to get into the curve of the eye, for example, these are really nice. Alright, Paradise. Let me wipe myself off before I forget, because that won't help anything. Alrighty, Paradise. Get these wet. Okay, same thing that I noticed with some of the other ones is when they're this kind of material is they do this crinkle thing in the middle, which isn't always good for getting paint on. Okay, good coverage. Back of my hand was still rather wet. Alright, 1/2 of a butterfly. These really hold water well, so probably don't have to put nearly as much water in them as I did. And it just keeps going and going. Yeah, these are really good. Goes for quite a while on a couple of swipes of the split cakes, so definitely a plus. It's somewhere in between the real rounded edge of the Royal and the non-rounded edges of the Always Wicked. So it's a good mid-ground, good density, feels good against the skin. Strokes fine. Oh, that actually feels really good. Strokes really well. You know, definitely is holding its color, and there's still paint. The only thing that's missing are the end pieces, which are always the first to go. So, in terms of what's left on the paint. And I'm about to have a special guest visitor of the kitty. Hi, sweetie. Not right now. Alright, Hydra, you're next. Should have gotten a towel to dry my hand as opposed to just wipes to wipe it down. Alright, Hydra Sponge. Again, this is one of the ones that you have to cut in half. Very dense. It's denser than the Royal Sponge. It's also thinner. Haven't really thought about that. They're definitely thinner than the Paradise. So, more coverage with the Paradise, or it's wider, but these are thinner, which may be something that you want. Always Wicked, thickness comparison. Thickness comparison. So the Always Wicked and the Paradise are the same thickness. Even the little one is the same thickness, but not the same length. Alright, let's get this baby wet. These ones go real smoothly, I notice, on the split cake. But for some reason the edges never want to grab all of the paint. That's one thing that drives me nuts about it. See, purple never quite wants to grab on the edges. And that might be from just how I have to cut it myself. So, pretty decent coverage. Swipe test. Doesn't swipe very well for swiping on colors, but most of us daub anyway. That's a swipe, so definitely not for swiping with or swiping colors on. It's a dauber sponge for sure. All right. Okay, and last is the Diamond FX. These again I had to cut. Hate that it does that and I don't get even edges. Drives me nuts. I'll finish put some of it later. But this one, alright. So this one's really soft. It's thick. It's got the it's not rounded edges, but it's softer than the Always Wicked or the Paradise. It's sort of like a blend between the two because you can see it's got the holes in it. So that's nice if you like that sort of sponge. It's really soft on the skin. And holds water pretty darn well. Okay. Squishes into your cake pretty easily. And there's a lot to hold on to. It might be a little too soft because it keeps flopping back and forth as I'm trying to pick up my paint color. Okay. Grabs color really well off of the one stroke. Good distribution of color, feels wonderful on the skin. For swiping, if that's something you want to do. A little hard to swipe because it is so soft, but if you're just doing a small portion of the side, looks like it's fine. I've lost most of my purple, so it's not swiping the purple at this point. So, swiped area, dabbed on area. These ones are also the same thickness. The Hydra and the Royal Sponge are thinner. The rest are the same thickness as everything else. So hopefully that gives you some clues on what you want to buy for your sponges, what you like in your sponge, what you like to see, how you like it to work. The only one of these that I don't care for is the Krylon because it's too firm. I'm definitely going to put these in my kit because I will definitely use each of them for various parts of my kit. I'm more likely to use the rounded edge ones for my split cakes simply because they've got the rounded edges, and the other ones for distributing big blocks of color. I really like the Paradise because it seems to be a combination of having the round, it's the only one that has the rounded edge and the thickness. So for distributing colors and getting into those rounded nooks like in the corner of the eye against the nose, that's really nice. I'll probably quarter these. They also come pre-cut, which is, again, very nice. So, there you go. This is how you see them. How you saw them in the first picture is how they came to me. So, hopefully that'll also give you an idea of how well they work and what they'll do for you. Thanks. Bye.